Stretching time. Okay, so we have a few stretches to go through. You can hold these for as long as is comfortable for you, ideally anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes, depending on how tight you are and what you need and what you're looking for. And definitely do these after your workouts. Definitely don't do any static stretching before. That's why we had our warm up as the flowing dynamic movements, stabilizers, that kind of thing, activation. And then at the end, that's when we want to do, or on your off days, do your stretching, wear your recovery pants, take some Epsom salt baths, do whatever you need to do for recovery. But these ones will kind of hit a little bit of everything and get you started on the right path for some solid stretching. So our first one is hip flexor stretch with reaches, and you can add this into a quad stretch as well. So we're going to start in that 90 position. We're going to pull that front heel towards our midline. We're going to pull the knee towards our midline, so we're getting this activation pull both directions. And then just relax. So we're just going to do a couple of those where we just kind of tighten and relax, tighten and relax. And then from here, we're going to lift our same size of the leg that's down. You're going to lift that arm up, reach through your fingertips. You can take your palm of your one side and push it towards the ceiling, your palm of the other side and push it towards the floor. And then breathe. We want to kind of breathe into this whole hip area. So we're kind of expanding that and then relaxing that. Slow inhales, slow exhales. Whenever you're stretching, you want it to be very slow, very mindful of your breathing, and the breathing is the most important part, really. Turns on our parasympathetic system, calms the body down, calms the central nervous system down, helps the muscles to know that, okay, it's time to relax, I can relax. This is an okay position, I'm safe here, that kind of thing. So from here, if you don't really feel too much of a stretch here, you can go ahead and lift the back foot and do this. If you can't grab your back foot, you could either grab a strap and pull it, a big towel, and do that, or you could actually put this leg up against a wall or a chair or the couch or anything like that behind you, and then you can kind of shift forward a little bit. And in that shift, that's where you kind of feel that hip flexor kick in. You might get the closer your heel comes to your butt, the more of a quad stretch you're gonna have. And so that's what we're kind of working towards. You can even reach, so grab with the opposite hand, and then the same side hand reaches up and over. So we really lengthen all of that out. Full deep breaths. Slowly coming out of it when you're ready and down. So if this is uncomfortable, obviously you could get a mat to put underneath your knee if it's really bugging your knee here. Or again, if you do it up against a couch on a carpet or literally on a couch, you could do it so you have even more cushion. Or just get one of those Airx pads, which are really nice. They're cushioned a couple inches that you could put your knee on. That would really give it a little bit more support and help it to feel better a little bit more. And you can do a little reach up and over, breathing into the hip, trying to keep your rib cage down. So we don't want to flare out. We want the ribs to stay down. Get the shift forward, reach up and over, or rotate, or you could push your foot into your hand into your foot, and then relax and be able to bring it closer. Whatever's feeling good for you. Again, stretching is very personal to staying within your limits. There's nothing right or wrong about where you are in your stretching. It's not about how far and how deep and whatever. It's about feeling the stretch. So where, for example, we're coming into the next one, which is adductor stretch. So if you were on all fours, you're just going to straighten your one leg out and put your foot flat on the floor. And then you're just going to shift back. So for some people, if you're really tight through your adductors here, when just doing this, boop, you might be like, stretch. Yep, feel that. And for somebody else, they might be all the way back here and you're feeling the exact same stretch. It's just one person is tighter, one person is looser, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. You're both getting the same stretch. So it's not about how deep you go. It's about going to the point where you feel the stretch kick in and hang out there. Breathe into it. If you want to, you can almost squeeze down. So you're squeezing back in, you activate it, hold that activation, like squeeze your foot into the ground, almost like you're trying to pull your foot back towards your other knee, and then relax it, and you might be able to sink a little bit further. Okay, so you can play with this and you can kind of rock back and forth. You can find a spot, just hold. You could squeeze into the floor. There's so many options that you could do here. You could work on a little bit of rotation. Again, if you notice, this rotation is coming from my hip, not just from my ankle. It should be rotating all of that, okay? So after that, you can kind of bring the knee up, come up into a kneeling position. You're gonna push this knee back towards the back wall and then shift out, keeping your torso upright, nice and tall, and you're just shifting out to where you can. So the further your foot is out, the more of a adductor stretch, medial hamstring perhaps, stretch that you're gonna get. The closer it is in, the more of an ankle stretch you're gonna get. I prefer to go out, but I also don't have super tight ankles, so you can just decide which feels good for you, what you need, where's tight, and focus on that for you. And again, you can do a couple in and outs and then maybe hold, full deep breath, and relax. And again, we're going to the other side, on all fours, leg goes out to the side, and then you're just shifting back. Again, when we're shifting back, there should be no change in your torso. So we shouldn't be tucking our tailbone. We shouldn't be arching our back. Our torso stays completely the same, and we're just shifting. So we keep that stretch here rather than overcompensating by using our back to do it. Okay, so we get those stretches, feel a good stretch, maybe do an activation and relax, contract and relax. Breathing into that lower abdominals, breathing into this whole area that we're trying to stretch, being mindful of what we're trying to stretch, and then come up, we push our knee back, and then we shift straight out, keeping our torso upright, but again, not flaring that spotlight up, but keeping it stable and straight ahead. Maybe a couple in and outs, couple holds. You could push your knee against your hand against your knee, and then relax and let it drift further back behind you. Again, getting more of a stretch through the groin, through the adductors and all of that. Okay, then once you do those, then you can come down onto your back. We have hamstring extensions and ankle circles. So just laying on the ground, you can do a couple just straight leg raises to wherever you can get it to go to. Once you have a good position, you can play with pointing your toes towards the sky, towards your nose, towards the sky, towards your nose. You can hold your leg in and hold that position. You can take this whole leg and rotate it in, rotate it out, rotate it in, rotate it out, kind of getting that hip to work inside of your capsule. Just kind of loosen anything up in there. And then from here, you could even do bend and extend, bend and extend. You could do that with toes pointed or up or down, or just a relaxed ankle. And again, you could even do a contract, relax, push your leg into your hands into your leg, and then relax and let it come closer to your chest for a better stretch. All of these options. And then once you're up here, you might want to just relax it for a second if you're feeling a little fatigue in there. Or you can have your leg up and you can work some ankle circles. So now you're working ankle circles plus a hamstring stretch at the same time. Gotta love that. And then if you wanted to, you could bring the leg across the midline of the body to hit more of the outside hamstring muscle. You could bring it to the opposite side, hit more of the inside hamstring muscle. And just use your hand for support on both sides as you go. Just so you don't have to use your muscles when you're trying to actually stretch your muscles. Let them just go into the position and relax there. Okay, so again, the other side, you can do a bend and extend. And you can do this with your legs straight. You can do it with your leg bent, whatever feels better for you. For me, sometimes I like it better this way because then I don't have the arch in my back. I tend to get quite the lordosis in my low back, so I just try to avoid that if I can. Toes, point, straighten. Maybe some ankle circles. Either way. Maybe bring the leg across. Bring the leg out. And again, once you learn some of these and you learn what's tight for you and what feels good and what doesn't, then you can hold them for longer periods of time, or do more of what feels good for you or what your body is actually needing in that moment. Let me see what we got next here. Glute crossover. So we're just gonna bring our leg. So at first you can just kind of do like a figure 4 crossover and kind of work on just pushing the knee out, up and cross, push the knee out. And you can kind of work on that. If that's feeling pretty tight, you just work those and just kind of go back and forth. Then once those feel pretty good, you can come up, reach through, grab the leg, kind of pull towards your chest. You can kind of rock from side to side. I find that whatever leg you're holding on to, if you rock towards that side, you'll typically get more of a glute stretch from the other side. And wherever you find a good stretch, just hang out, breathe, enjoy that position. You can do all of these while you're watching TV or right after your workout or whatever feels good for you. And again, you can just change and switch. If you tend to be a hypermobile person, I wouldn't hold the stretches very long, but I do still think it's good sometimes to just move in some of these positions just to keep things, just to check and see if you feel tight or not. You might be like, doesn't feel tight, good, move on. Or you might be like, wow, that's really tight, I think I need to work on that. So again, you can even throw in an extra hamstring stretch here if you wanted. You could throw in some ankle circles here if you wanted and just mix a bunch of things up. But this one I really like. Feels good. You can relax, lay on the ground. It's all good. Breathe it out. Then from here, you're just going to take both hands, one on each knee, and you're just going to open and close your hips. So you're just like making hip circles here. If you feel any crunching, clicking, cracking, any of those things, shorten up your circle. So just don't go out as wide. Or you might have to draw your lower abdominals down towards the floor a little bit more and have a little activation. And that might help to take away some of that cracking and snapping and things like that. So you can just kind of change positions, do whatever, move them in different directions, do a figure 8, do switch sides, move them around, but basically we're just trying to loosen up the hip joints. Once you do those, then we can go to our windmills. So you're going to lay on your side in the fetal position. We have our arms stacked one on top of the other. The biggest thing for this one is make sure your knees are stacked one on top of the other and do not let them move the entire time you do this exercise. So we're going to reach through and then we reach around to the other side. You might get some cracking through your back, but the common thing I see when people do with this exercise is as they bring that arm over, their top knee drops back. And you don't want that. That's just showing that you're not doing the rotation from your upper body and you're trying to use your lower back to do the rotation, which takes away from the point of the movement that we're doing. So again, our knees are stacked, our hands are straight out. We reach, we swing around, we go to the other side. We take our deep breath, exhale. I would take even 2 or 3 full, slow, deep breaths with every deep breath, letting that shoulder open up, let the rotation happen, and then bring the arm back, and then come around. And you could either do, 5 of these in a row and then hold the last one, or you could do a hold each time. This one particular, I think, is very important. You could even straighten the bottom leg and just bring the other leg up that's fine too. That will help to kind of block the low back from doing anything here that it shouldn't be doing. But this one, especially if you have low back pain, getting more mobility through your upper back is really going to be beneficial. So you might notice just from doing these that some low back pain does disappear. So take that deep breath. The arm kind of rises and then exhale and come back down. So if you're someone that can keep your knees straight on top of each other, you can reach over and down and your arms are flat to the ground. Your shoulders, both shoulders are flat without having moved these knees, then you might not need this. Your thoracic spine is probably pretty good. I know my one side is more mobile than the other, so when I bring that arm over, I have a good bit. Let's see if you can see it on this side. I have a good bit of space. This is as far as I can go. I have a lot of space here. My shoulder's not all the way down to the ground. So that's something I'm working on as well. You can work with pulling your ribs doing this. If you feel like there's just too much in this shoulder joint, just shorten it by putting your hand on your shoulder, and that will take some of that pressure off of the shoulder joint itself. And you can even give yourself a little rub on the rib cage or even into the chest, and that will sometimes help some of that fascial release to just get a little more open for you. All right, last two. So we have a chest stretch and a lat stretch. So chest stretch, you could come down kind of in, so if you're almost like you're going into a child's pose, but you're not. It's more of like a puppy pose. So puppy pose is like this, but we're going to bring the arm out to the side, and we're kind of just rotating down towards the ground and then rotating the opposite way. So we're just kind of dipping the shoulder. If that doesn't feel too good, you can actually lay on the floor, pull one knee up, and then so you're gonna have your arm on a diagonal from you, and then kind of push and lift. And that one might get it a little bit better. So let's see if you can see it better this way. So my one leg is straight, and my other knee is up high. This arm is on a diagonal from me. It's almost like I fell down on the ground, and now I'm trying to get up or roll over. And just play around with your arm position. So again, arm here, leg is up, and we're just kind of, so the more out on an angle your arm can be, the more of a stretch you're gonna get in there for your chest. And come back down, so you can do both sides for that. And then the last one is your lat stretch. And you can do this a couple different ways. One is from child's pose. So you can tuck your toes under, sit your butt back, walk your hands over as far as you can, and then lower your chest towards the ground. And you're almost thinking about pulling your armpit back towards your knee on that side to get a stretch there. Walk your hands to the other side. Walk the hands out. Pull this armpit towards this knee to really stretch out as much as you can. And deep, full breaths. And then you come back to the center. If that one isn't great for you, you can also go up and over this way, up and over this way. You can, for chest stretch, grab the hands in the back, pull them out and away from your body. You can do that. You can give yourself a little bit of a twist from side to side. Whatever feels good for you. Do some shoulder rolls forward and back. Crisscross the arms, straight up and through. And just shake it out. You can get a little neck stretch from side to side, rotate around, and loosen it up. And stretch whatever else you might need to, and on with your day. All right, enjoy.